Right now today in New York, some new questions about the return of masks for everyone. The new warning from one of the nation's top doctors as the city launches a new effort to raise those vaccination rates.
Heating back up across the tri-state, 90-degree temperatures return. Storm Team 4 will tell us just how hot it will feel.
Plus, we're going to kick off the first full week of the Tokyo Olympics, and Bruce Beck's going to join us live from the games with all the big wins and then some surprising results for Team USA. But we want to say good morning, everybody. 4:30 a.m., a little later than usual because of the Olympics. On this Monday, July 26th, I'm Michael Gargiulo.
I'm Darlene Rodriguez. Don't worry, we're coming on at 4:30 for the next 2 weeks because, as Michael said, we have this Olympics coverage that we're excited about.
We certainly are. And Lauren Scott is here tracking the roads and rails. Darlene, by the way, is dressed as the Olympus goddess of victory in white. And Sunbeam Force.
That's right.
Maria LaRosa is here with the forecast.
He can't help himself. Can't help himself.
I know,
and I can tell when he's looking at me like a certain way. I see
He's ready. He's got this, like, I'm ready. Here we go. Well, we have some clouds and some humidity in case you haven't stepped outside yet. And we did have some showers and some pretty big thunderstorms just a couple of hours ago. Those have dissipated, but there may be some puddles on the way in. We'll check in with Lauren, of course, see where there may be some slowdowns because of that. Otherwise, a quiet weather picture, some patchy fog, and it is still really humid. 73 degrees right now in the city. That dew point at 71. Here's the thing, though. We have some actually drier air moving in for half the region. Basically, I-95 north and west getting a break from that high humidity, so not as sticky for the afternoon, even though it's just plain old hot anyway. 90 degrees by 4 p.m., 86 at 7 p.m., and then mainly clear skies, still in the 80s by 10 o'clock. All right, Lauren, any slowdowns out there now?
No slowdowns, but there are definitely some issues on the roads at this hour if you are headed out. Truck Route 1 and 9 is shut down with an accident investigation on the southbound side from Central Avenue to Raymond Boulevard. Then you have some flooding on the Hutch out there in both directions between Wolf's Lane and 3rd Street, so watch out for delays through there. And also on Bruckner Boulevard northbound, you have a closure out by Country Club Road, but 95 is not affected by this. Darlene and Michael, back to you.
Thank you very much, Lauren. While you were sleeping, action at the Tokyo Games. Some of the best to ever take to the pool once again found herself on the medal stand.
It was, though, just not where we're used to seeing her. So let's say hello to Today in New York's Bruce Beck. Bruce joins us live once again from Tokyo. A big day of some interesting results for Team USA, Bruce.
First of all, good morning, Michael and Darlene. I'm glad you guys got to sleep a little bit late this morning, and you will throughout the Olympics. Call it a confluence of sports and superstars on day 2. We had Biles and Ledecky and Dressel. We had gymnastics, swimming, basketball, and softball, just to name a few events. And we really had a race for the ages. In the women's 400-meter freestyle, it was almost like a match race between Katie Ledecky and Ariane Titmus, and it was the 20-year-old Aussie who prevailed and captured the gold medal with the second fastest time in history. It was the first individual race final Ledecky has lost in 3 Olympics. From silver to gold, the U.S. men captured the 4x100-meter relay. That was the freestyle relay. Caleb Dressel led off for the Americans as he started his quest for 6 gold medals in these games. Dressel was joined by Blake Pironi, Bowen Becker, and Zach Apple. The U.S. men's basketball team was shocked in their tournament opener. They were beaten by France 83-76. Kevin Durant scored only 10 points. It was the first loss for the U.S. since 2004 and snapped a 25-game winning streak in the Olympics. The U.S. plays Iran on Wednesday. They are still the favorite to win the gold medal in this tournament, but they have been nagged by injuries, by COVID, by the fact that they lost a couple of exhibition games. Still, Greg Popovich, the coach of this team, and company are looking to get it together overall. And by the way, it's the women's team that's even the bigger favorite. They are looking for their 7th consecutive gold medal, Michael and Darlene.
All right, Bruce. Well, Bruce, before you go, we've seen some of the winners wearing masks on the medal stand and just all around in general. So are there rules? Do you see a trend? What's happening?
Okay, the rule has been relaxed. At first, they were supposed to wear the mask throughout the photos. Now they are being given a 30-second grace period to ditch the mask, take the photos, but still stay on the steps of the podium. I think they saw the pushback from the athletes, and they really had no choice here because they were taking off the masks anyway, and it's a smart move because the athletes have waited 5 long years for this moment, and they want to celebrate at least for a few seconds without the mask. So now the officials have worked with the athletes, and I think you'll see a much healthier situation on the podium stand. I mean, it makes sense, guys. Let's face it.
Yeah, for sure. We want them to have their moment. All right, Bruce, thanks so much. Good to see you as always. We will have much more with Bruce throughout the morning. Then at 7 a.m. it is the Today Show in Tokyo. Live guests this morning include Team USA Taekwondo gold medalist Anastasia Zolotic and NBC swimming commentator Michael Phelps. At 4:35 right now, the medal counts are starting to pile up. Here's a look at where the countries stand right now. China leads the way with 15 overall, including 6 gold medals. Team USA on top with 7 golds. Amber English and Vincent Hancock finishing both first in skeet shooting overnight. The U.S. has 14 medals in all. Host nation Japan has 9, 6 of which are gold. The Russian athletes have 8 medals.
Well, Team USA has another chance at gold tonight because the men's gymnastic team's final, where primetime right here on NBC, along with the women's triathlon, men's synchronized diving platform. Also in the pool, it's the men's 200-meter freestyle. And Kieran Smith of Ridgefield, Connecticut, he's going to go for a second medal in Tokyo during that race. So this is scheduled for 9:43 p.m. our time. Another athlete to watch today, Port Jervis's own Stephanie Dolson. She'll take on China women's 3-on-3 basketball, and you can watch that during the NBC daytime coverage. And Darlene, that starts at noon.
All right, 4:36 right now. Happening today, the city is going to make it even easier to get a COVID-19 vaccine. Make it easier to get a vaccine in several different neighborhoods. This comes as nationwide vaccinations do lag and new cases climb. Now even more serious talk about masks for everyone. Today in New York's Tracy Strahan's at Fort Hamilton High School covering all of it.
Well, Darlene, this is an situation where the classroom may become a clinic, so to speak. The Summer Rising program is where they're going to be giving out the COVID vaccine starting today at 25 locations. And it comes at a time when health officials are concerned about the country actually moving backwards when it comes to COVID. Well, let's show you some video now because, as you mentioned, we're here at Fort Hamilton High School, one of the sites that will be giving out the Pfizer vaccine today. School's Chancellor Misha Porter says the board is urging parents to give their eligible students the vaccine by August 9th so they're fully vaccinated by the start of the school year. Now, Dr. Anthony Fauci says nearly half of the population remains unvaccinated, and there are concerns about the Delta variant driving positivity rates higher, especially in big cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, and New Orleans. 99% of all COVID cases and deaths are from unvaccinated patients at this point. But amongst those who've had COVID, their decision to actually get the vaccine are still mixed.
It was kind of severe, but I mean, I kind of live life to the fullest, so I'm not the type of person that's scared.
I'm admitting my wrong because I was being selfish by not getting vaccinated. It really changes your outlook on life when you almost feel like I may be called home.
Now, sites participating in the Summer Rising Vaccine Clinic again include Fort Hamilton High School here in Brooklyn starting today and tomorrow. Tuesday, it moves on to Lehman High School in the Bronx. Wednesday, Wagner High School on Staten Island. And then Thursday, Long Island City High School in Queens. And then Friday, it all ends at Health Professions High School. That's in Manhattan. Again, they'll be giving out the Pfizer vaccine here at Fort Hamilton High School. That begins at 9 o'clock this morning, and anyone over the age of 12 is available to get it. We are live in Fort Hamilton. Tracy Strahan, Today in New York. Darlene, we'll send it back to you.
Tracy, thank you.
All right, happening today, a longtime friend of former President Donald Trump and his inaugural chairman. He's going to be in a Brooklyn courtroom. Tom Barrack facing several charges, including allegations of acting as a foreign agent. New York's Gabi Acevedo is outside federal court in downtown Brooklyn with what you need to know about this. Gabi.
Michael, later today, Tom Barrack is expected to face a judge after being arrested in Los Angeles back on Tuesday. He's accused of acting as a foreign agent for the United Arab Emirates. As you mentioned, the longtime friend of former President Donald Trump posted a $2 $150 million bond on Friday after being charged with conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and making multiple false statements to federal agents in a June 2019 interview. A federal judge ordered Tom Barrack to surrender his passport and to be monitored electronically, Michael, through a GPS ankle bracelet at his own expense. The 74-year-old is being accused of secretly working as an agent for the UAE while trying to influence the former president's foreign policy. Prosecutors say Barrack used his long personal friendship with Trump to benefit the UAE without disclosing his ties to the U.S. government. And they also pointed out that he has Lebanese citizenship, a country with no extradition treaty with the U.S., which prompted the judge to deem him a flight risk. Now, Michael, at this point, Tom Barrack is required to remain in the company of his attorneys until his hearing today. He is one of 3 men being charged in this investigation. One of those other men is a businessman from the UAE who left the country. He fled the U.S. and is still at large. Reporting from Brooklyn Federal Court, Gabby Acevedo, today in New York.
Gabby, thank you.
All right, let's take a moment now, check in with Maria LaRosa, looking at the weather.
All right, looking fair in most spots after some early showers and thunderstorms have rolled on through. Brooklyn at 76 degrees, so it is mild. 75 in Queens, Staten Island, and the Bronx now at 73 degrees. We're in the 70s over the city with high humidity. We'll see some clouds lingering early on, some sun breaking through by the afternoon. Into the low 80s, on our way up near 90 degrees for the afternoon. But humidity coming down a bit, so the heat index not crazy. That includes tomorrow. We're back up into the 90s. Look at where we're headed by the end of the week. Cool weather, but still a little unsettled. Talk about that in the 10-day forecast.
Thanks so much, Maria. Also ahead, one of the largest Midwestern cities and a popular tourist spot returns to a mask mandate today. What's behind the decision?
And then later, cheering from afar inside the parties going on all across our country to root on members of Team USA.
If you are getting on the subways at this hour, 8th Avenue bound L trains, they're arriving and departing on the Canarsie bound track between Bedford Avenue and 14th Street. You can also expect delays in both directions. And then if you are getting on the other rails, planned track work is out there on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 AEDF and Staten Island Railway. Let's take a live look outside at the roads. Here's the Holland Tunnel, where that inbound tube is closed with road work until 5 a.m. You are watching Today in New York.